Hi everybody. Welcome back to another Muck Monday. Like every week, this is a very special episode. In keeping with what I did last year at this exact time, I'm going to eat autumnal baked goods. So today, of course, because nothing is ever simple, I went to the Starbucks across the street from where I live. I get up to the cash and I see that they're out of pumpkin spice. I was like, of course I can't get a pumpkin spice latte. Of course. Why would I be able to do that? So I had to, recalculate in that moment and figure out what I was gonna do. So I got an iced coffee, because why not? I'm gonna be up all night, that's fine, whatever. I have these super cute and delicious little cupcakes, which I can't wait to eat. This one says give thanks, because it's Thanksgiving. It's Canadian Thanksgiving. If you're out there and you're Canadian and you're watching this, happy Thanksgiving. And then I have these little guys, which actually look so good. They're little 2-bite pumpkin spice brownies. I'm not the biggest pumpkin spice fan, but they smell good. So we're gonna see how this goes. Oh yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm Velma. Jinkies. Because that's what she says, right? I think. I had 2 requests to do a Scooby Doo character. One of them was specifically Velma, and one of them was just to do Scooby Doo in general. So I was like, I guess I'm going with Velma. And this is just the best costume. It's so simple and easy and fun and cute. So yeah, I could definitely see myself like in an attempt to just think of a Halloween costume off the top of my head, just going as Velma this year, for show. However, as exciting as all of this stuff is, there's one thing that makes this video extra special, and that's the fact that I am going to be telling a real life ghost story. Last year, it was during this exact week, I dressed up as Lana Del Rey and I ate some pumpkin pie in a graveyard. Not a real graveyard, it was a green screen, but... And I told scary stories, real scary stories that have happened in my life. Last year, I really wanted to do 3 of them, but the first 2 took up so much time that I didn't get to tell the 3rd one. So that's what I'm gonna do tonight. So let's go. I'm gonna eat one of these babes. I'm just curious, Ooh, that was good, actually. It's got more of a vanilla taste to it. What does that taste like? It tastes like pumpkin pie, basically. Yeah. That's very good. Also, I just discovered that this little pumpkin is a little ring. So I'm gonna lick the frosting off of it and put it on my finger. This is disgusting, but there we go. I'm getting married. Shaggy and I were getting married. No, it's this finger. Anyways, the first 2 scary stories that I told last year were my own experiences. Well, one was my own experience, one was my family's experience as a whole. This one, however, is my mom's experience. And the way that my mom told me this story was so amazingly cinematic in a lot of ways, because we were literally sitting in a traffic jam, and I don't know how, but somehow we stumbled upon the subject of ghosts. And my mom just casually brought up the fact that 8 years prior to that moment, when we as a family went to Ireland, it was my mom, my dad, me, my brother, and my sister, and my grandma and my 2 aunts, who were my dad's sisters. We went to Ireland for a few weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and we traveled around the whole country, which was cool. But we stayed for about a week and a half in this one big house. And it wasn't like it was like an isolated house in like the middle of nowhere. It was like a complex, with a bunch of other normal people living in it, and like it was very kind of modern. Like it didn't have any spooky vibes or anything like that. But my mom all of a sudden just unleashed the truth about her experience while we were staying in this house. But I say it was cinematic because it was like, the beginning of like Princess Bride or something, where it's like literally like somebody's telling a story, and then it felt like I was like in the story, like the way that my mom was telling it. This was back in 2015 that she was telling me this. I was like, how could you not have told me this for 8 years? Like, I don't understand. And I think she just honestly never like thought anything of it. Because I will also preface this story by saying that my mom is very, very common sense. She's very practical. I think she would sooner try to explain any supernatural occurrence with like logic before actually believing in any kind of ghost thing. Mm. Forgot a napkin. So we arrived at this house. You know, it was a big house. Me and my siblings were excited. We went to go explore it and stuff. Like, again, like in a movie. But my mom said that from the second that she walked into this house, she just felt like something was looking at her. And I remember asking her, I was like, what does that mean? Like, I've heard people say that, like they feel a presence around them, but they can't explain it. And my mom was like, yeah, I don't know. It's exactly like that. Like, you can't explain it unless you've experienced it. But she just felt like something was there. From like the moment she entered, it just didn't feel right. So it started off with like things here and there where she would just be like alone in the hallway maybe. And she'd get a feeling again, like something's around me right now. And one night specifically, everybody was in bed. My mom went down to the kitchen to like make herself a cup of tea, have some toast. And she was sitting alone in the kitchen, like reading a magazine, eating. And she said she felt it again. Like she was just sitting there like, okay, like something is here. Like something's around me right now. Like, I don't know. My mom said that she never felt threatened by it. Like it was always just very like benign, you know, like it was just kind of there. Like she never felt like, oh, it's gonna like hurl a chair at me or like, you know, any kind of like aggressive ghost behavior. And then maybe like, ew, I just got the nastiest taste of pumpkin in my mouth. So anyways, so then fast forward to the next night, let's say. It was late. Everybody was in bed. My sister and I were sharing a room. My brother had his own room. And my sister and I, like, we like to stay up late and just, like, giggle and have fun because it was, like, you know, we were on vacation. But my mom heard us, like, running through the halls and laughing. So she gets up just to, I guess, tell us to go to bed or whatever. And she opens the door into the hallway. And this hallway, long, wooden, it was, again, cinematic. My mom opens the door to the hallway and there's nobody there. Like she heard us outside like laughing and like running around. Like she heard like boom, 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 boom. Getting goosebumps. We're sitting in the traffic jam still. I'm like So then she walks down the hallway and opens the door to mine and my sister's bedroom and we're fast asleep. And we were fast asleep. I think I would remember like faking sleep. Like I don't remember doing that. And it was also summertime and we were on vacation. It's not like we were gonna get in trouble if we were awake still. My mom just wanted to find out what the noise was basically. But we were fast asleep. So she was just like, okie dokie. And then went back to bed. Where was I? So I heard noises in the hall. So then, as our days grew nearer to leaving, stuff started escalating. So it literally went from like just sensing something to hearing something to feeling something. My mom was lying in bed and my dad was fast asleep. I was sitting there in the passenger seat like, how did you even sleep? Like I would have like sooner, I would have had the lights on like the entire time. But again, my mom, like she reiterated, she's like, I just didn't feel scared. Like that was the thing. Like I wasn't scared, you know, a fairly innocent feeling that was around me. But anyway, she's lying there in the dark. She's trying to get to sleep. And suddenly she feels like a tap. I have goosebumps because I'm freaking freaked out. Like I'm so hot right now, but I've got goosebumps because I'm like so creepy. She felt like a little tap, like that, like 2 fingers. And then she was like, okie dokie, and like woke my dad up. They turned the lights on and she was just like, something's going on. And at that point, I'm sitting there listening to this, like, and it just reminded me as to how you've never told me this before. Like, it's like, it's pretty big stuff, So yeah, it was getting crazy. So let's say a couple days later, we're getting ready to leave and we're packing things up and putting things in the van that we rented. And this is where it went from being a harmless feeling to like something else. My mom has like her signature move when we leave anywhere. I'm sure a lot of moms are like this, where she always goes back through wherever we stayed to look everywhere to make sure nobody forgot anything, because we were kids at the time too, so it was like extra. Everybody was outside, like my dad was putting bags in the car. So my mom goes upstairs by herself to scan the area. And she said at that point, when she was walking through that hallway upstairs, all of a sudden, she felt these things start like swirling. Like they were not okay anymore. Like they were upset. They did not want her to go. They were just trying to send her some type of message. And she said as she was going down the stairs, it was getting crazier and crazier. Like she just felt it was getting angrier and angrier. These things did not want her to go. And to the point where she thought, she's like, I'm gonna go to open this front door in a second and it's not gonna open because these things aren't gonna let me go. And of course she put her hand on the knob and the door opened and she left. But like she said, she just felt like this insane energy that was like went from super innocent and chill to not super chill. There's not much else to the story, except a couple years later, she was discussing the incident with my aunts that were in the house. And one of my aunts claimed to have felt the same thing. She was like, yeah, there was a couple moments there where I just felt like something was like in the room with me. And my mom never discussed it with my aunt. My aunt obviously never discussed it with my mom. And my mom said, yeah, I mean, it really got bad for me when I was lying in bed one night and I felt like a tap, like 2 little things like this, little this. And my one aunt who's very, like, she's very book smart and very, like, she's like a historian and she just kind of has like a knowledge about things. She was like, oh, it's funny that you say like it was an innocent feeling. She's like, I bet it was 2 little kids. And my mom was like, she just started putting all the pieces together, like that feeling of like an innocent presence, like didn't want to hurt her, was like interested in her. And my mom was like, oh my God, like they must have known that I was the mom and they just wanted to be around me. And then my aunt, she's like, oh, you know what? It probably, look at the goosebumps. It probably kissed you. Oh my God. And it's like at once the cutest, sweetest, creepy, uneasy story I've ever heard. My mom hid it from me for 8 years. And then the traffic, started moving again and we started moving. Isn't that just wild? I just think that's crazy. It's one of my favorite things to tell people because it's just like, because I believe my mom so much, like it just, she's not the person for that to happen to. Like some people, they're on the lookout for like feelings like that and stuff like that. Like my mom's not that person. So when she said she felt something, I was like, well, I believe that something was going on. And my aunt felt it too. Shit's crazy. Oh, also, we found out after, we were staying in that house that there was like a hill that went down and there was a path. And we found out after leaving there that there were a bunch of bodies buried under there from the potato famine. I think they called it like the Road of the Dead or something like that. I could be making that up, but I have a picture of me on it when I was like 12 and like I'm just like standing there and like I'm honestly, I don't even like looking at it because it's kind of like misty behind me and I'm like, I'm going to see an apparition one day when I look at that. Like that's honestly one of my biggest fears is like looking in the background of like a photo and seeing like a ghost. Like I'm just like, it's so scary to me. I don't know why. After seeing that movie like what was that movie with Julianne Moore? Where it's like really scary, like her daughter dies and there's like all these people getting like sucked into the air and it's like, but there's this guy that he's like in the pictures when she looks at them and it's like so scary. Again, the goosebumps. Yeah. So there were ghosts. My mom had a full tilt ghost experience. Wild. And it was probably 2 little kids that were like, oh, mama, you know, which is like so sad, but also like, go away, please, sorry. I believe in ghosts. I don't see how ghosts are any weirder than any other thing. Like, I believe in aliens. Why wouldn't there be some kind of like matter around you that still exists that like, you know, does shit sometimes? Like, isn't maybe not everybody that does it, but like some of them do it. I don't know. We don't know. It's a mystery. Damn, I should have ended that story by being like, and then we pulled the mask off and it was Old Man Withers. Damn. Next time. Please subscribe to my channel. Drop a comment, drop a like, ring a ding little bell, all the rest. I'm posting new content all the time. This is a super fun time of year. Basically from now until the end of the year, I'm gonna be doing fun stuff. Maybe like November is a little boring, but other than that, like it's gonna be Gucci and you're not gonna wanna miss it. So just subscribe. I'll tell you scary stories till I'm blue in the face. Probably have to make them up, but whatever. Anyways. Yeah, y'all stay groovy. Hope you didn't watch this at night. Get a good night's sleep. And I will see you next week. Bye.
Variety of